Hi everyone, I'm Jenna with Anime Fire, and I'm here today to talk with voice actor Kyle Hebert. Hi Kyle, how are you?
I'm doing excellent all the way here from the West Coast.
Yes, and I'm all the way here on the East Coast, the power of technology.
That's right. When it works, it is an awesome thing.
Yes, that is the one thing you have to make sure that happens is that it works.
Oh, yes.
So I wanted to start out today by talking a little bit about the upcoming convention in Pasadena. We have Anime Pasadena coming up, and you are going to be a guest there.
Oh, yes.
Have you
Yeah,
gone to
I
Anime
think this is,
Pasadena?
I actually have the past 2 years, and I might have gone a year before that somewhere in the past 10 years. I can't remember because I have that first world problem of having gone to so many cons that I forget where I've been. But Pasadena is local to me, so that's a little easier to recall. But yeah, it's one of the biggest shows that I've gotten to do, and it gets bigger and bigger each year. And you know, the amazing guest lineup, the amazing cosplay on display from all the fans and the attendees, and the staff is fantastic. So yeah, it's just going to be another party on November 4th and 5th.
So it sounds so much fun. What are you looking forward to the most about Anime Pasadena?
Well, I tell you, it's great to touch base with fans that don't get to cons very often. And maybe they've interacted with me on social media and they're like, oh, I finally get to see you. Or I have this pop on my shelf and I'm dying to have you sign it, or get a video shout out, or just say hi and tell you how much difference you've made in my life, whether it's entertainment or helping me through a dark time or something like that. That is such an amazing icing on the cake of what I get to do for a living. And the fandom is so fantastically supportive in everything. Plus, I get to catch up with my colleagues in the industry. You know, I work with literally hundreds of people in the industry, but we don't record together. So we might meet up in the green room and actually catch up, you know, step away from our individual booths for our little bit and say, hey, how's it going? How are the kids? How's your dog? You know, and so thought, okay, got to get back out there. You know, so that's a lot of fun too.
Oh, it sounds like it's a great time all around with fans and friends, and you don't want to miss it.
No, this is a great event put on by a great organization that's sponsoring multiple events. And you know, for the Los Angeles area, it's wonderful for those who think, oh, there's only just the one big one in July 4th weekend. It's like, no, there's other events going on, and people should give them a try for sure.
Yeah, I went to actually Anime Las Vegas this year. I came all the way out to Vegas, and that was put on by the same company, and it was a
Exactly, and I
blast.
was there too.
You were.
Yeah,
I actually met you at WonderCon, like very briefly this year. I was out there for WonderCon,
nice.
so that was fun.
Yes, yeah, I love getting to go to those huge pop culture shows. That's just whoa. But of course, the popularity of anime now means those shows are becoming as big as Comic-Con shows. And now the Comic-Con people are starting to come to the anime cons. It's like, yeah.
It's everyone. It's getting very, very inclusive. And on that note, what has it been like to see anime become more and more mainstream in the US?
Well, I was blessed to start this 23 years ago. I got in the industry by becoming attached to Dragon Ball Z. And that was the number one after school show on Cartoon Network. And it was a huge juggernaut in pop culture, the merch sales and everything. And we were already starting to tour the country and sometimes the world as the voice actors. So that's been really, really cool to see. And I've seen, it's been a bit of a roller coaster. It's like there's always this little undercurrent of fierce loyalty to the art form. But it goes a little more mainstream each time. We've seen streaming become a thing and battling piracy and torrents and all that. And now, you know, it's the best time of all to be a fan. You're getting so many shows almost instantaneously in English, as well as the official Japanese version. So all audiences are served. And it's just a win for the art form, for the fandom, for everybody.
Right. It's a great time to be an anime fan.
Yeah, it's even gotten to a point where there's people that work on cartoons or even on camera actors that I'll be talking to behind the scenes at the cons, and they'll go, man, this anime thing, I need to get on an anime. You guys' autograph lines are longer than ours. It's like, well, thank you. And that does blow my mind. That you can have someone who's on a big show or series, movie, or a game, and you think, how come their line is not long? You know,
it just seems to be, you can never quite predict. One day it might be long, and the next day you can't get near the table at all.
That's right. Yeah, it'll go through waves. You know, sometimes whether the show itself is big or small, there'll be a spurt of people. Maybe, you know, the early birds that like to get there, that pay a little bit extra for the VIP badge. They want to be first. So there's like a rush. And then it slows down a little bit. And then it kind of trickles down to like a consistent, you know, and then maybe there'll be another burst after, especially after like a panel. Like if we step away from our booths, we've already had lunch and now we have a panel, and that is like a big commercial to come say hi to us at our booths.
Right. It's a nice segue for you.
Yeah, it's good to get up and stretch. You know, you're sitting there for hours on end and hoping that your paint pens don't dry out.
I myself am a very big fan of Naruto, in which you voice Kiba.
Yes.
So when you first started working on this show that turned out to be this huge pop culture phenomenon, did you know or have a feeling that it would turn into what it is today?
I didn't know it would last this long. It was already huge when the dub debuted in the fall of 2004, and I auditioned, and I think I started Kiba around December, which means it aired early in 2005. So I knew how big it was because even just a few years before that on the convention scenes, so many people wearing the headbands. I'm like, oh, what's that? Oh, that's the next big thing, guys. Just you wait. And sure enough, and then I spring off of that into Bleach, and then I'm recording both of those kind of simultaneously. And both of those shows are going through like this renaissance. You know, it's obviously you have Bleach back on Hulu now with the 1,000-Year Blood War, and then, you know, happening over in Japan at least. Hopefully they'll make a dub. There's 4 new episodes, I think, celebrating Naruto's 20th anniversary, which is fantastic. And going into places like Target, Walmart, Hot Topic, and seeing anime shirts, especially for shows like that. Really, really impressive.
It is. And you mentioned Bleach, and you also have provided voice on One Piece. So that means you've been part of the big 3. All of them.
I am very lucky, yes.
You checked all the boxes off.
That's right. Plus, I've done bit part voices on so many more shows. I laugh because watching Cartoon Network on Adult Swim and everything, it feels like it's the Kyle Hebert cameo. You know, like, what show am I not going to show up in where people's ears will go, is that Kyle? Because some people are just so intensely, you know, fanatical about the shows, and then they start following the voice actors, and they can pick out the voices. It's like, that's impressive. I try to disguise my voice, but now people know all my tricks.
How does it feel to be part of, especially the big 3 that are now such a huge staple of anime culture?
Well, I tell you, growing up as a kid, wanting to do voices for animation, never knowing that I would be a part of one, much less multiple shows, not even just the big 3, but just endless franchises in games too, like Street Fighter and then My Hero Academia and golly, just the list. Oh my gosh, I can't believe I am so lucky to be able to make a living doing something I've wanted to do since I was a kid watching Looney Tunes. It's like, I want to do what that guy does, Mel Blanc. He was my hero. He was my hero as a kid growing up. It's like, that's what I want to do one day.
Actually, that leads me into what I was going to ask you is, did you ever want to be anything besides a voice actor?
Probably a drummer. You know, I had a drum set when I was in middle school and I played it through high school. I loved hard rock and heavy metal. And I said, I would love to be in a band. And then the more I learned about it, it's like, I don't want to be in a band. All the egos and all the playing everywhere, but not making money and all that stuff. But the voice acting thing, the seed was definitely planted. I'm also a big movie nerd. Big movie file. I love special effects or sound design and something like that. So maybe I might try something in that avenue because I do love movies so much. And then TV now has gone through this evolution where we're in the streaming thing now. So where you can tell it's too compressed as a TV show and maybe it's too rushed in a movie. But if you have a TV series, enough to give all the characters time to breathe. And it's like, okay, so yeah, this is a great time to be a fan of media in general.
It is. And, that kind of reminds me of how we're seeing this huge, huge success for the live adaptation of One Piece. This is kind of really, I feel like, it was coming up and we heard about it. And then it was just a huge hit the minute it came out. So you see fans talking about these other possible live adaptations. And is there anything
I've seen episode 1 and I was impressed. It's been really iffy and spotty before that with the live action stuff. And it's like, maybe should they just leave it alone? But it looks like they got the formula right this time. And that's exciting. That's encouraging. Now, I don't know if Dragon Ball Z would ever translate. We already had Dragon Ball Evolution and it's not the worst movie ever made, but it's not a faithful adaptation either. So maybe as time goes on, they'll start looking at social media, saying, what do the fans really want? We want something that's close to the source material. Don't think that you have to put your own stamp on it and go on all these deviations with everybody. Plus, One Piece has always been having an undercurrent of free publicity from celebrities like Jamie Lee Curtis, who was a fan. And, her kids are big fans of that. And, she even visited what was then Funimation. And they gave her a tour and everything. It's like, that's so cool.
Right. So it was kind of, I guess you could say, the logical choice to be the live adaptation, kind of market it,
Oh, yeah. She's already been very public about, I want to be on the live action One Piece. And Netflix said, yeah, we'll try to whip up a character for you.
Yeah. No, I saw a lot of people on social media were talking about what other adaptations might look like brought into the live sphere. And a lot of people were talking about, again, Naruto. So what do you imagine a live adaptation of Kiba would look like?
Well, golly. I don't think it's hard to translate his look, whereas Dragon Ball, the big spiky hair, that's... Yeah. But I think Kiba's look could be pulled off more convincingly, more easily. You just got to find, depending on what age you want them to start at, because I guess in the beginning, when you meet the kids, they're all like 12 or so. Right. And then as the show goes on, they become teenagers and so forth. And now I still, every few months, get called in on Boruto to voice old man Kiba. So it just depends on what they want to do on the timeline. Yeah.
So Kiba famously has his sidekick, Akamaru.
Yes.
So here's when we get to the really, hard-hitting questions here.
Ooh.
What dog breed would you choose for your Akamaru?
Oh my gosh. Maybe a Bichon or a Shih Tzu or a Shishan. Yeah, it's got to be small. I want to be able to wear them on my head.
That's a great choice. Oh, I would love to see that brought into live action. Just like a kid wearing a dog on his head. Like that's.
Yeah. Yeah. It kind of blew my mind whenever I saw the picture from the manga. Once Akamaru's full grown, it's like, he's like a lion. What?
He was just a puppy.
He was just a little bitty thing. You're like, oh my goodness.
So you mentioned, you always really wanted to be in this sort of field or some sort of entertainment, if not voice acting. So what did your journey into becoming a voice actor look like?
Well, a lot of voice actors start off as theater actors or maybe on camera to a certain degree. But my path actually crossed over from radio. I wanted to be a DJ on the radio also as a kid. So I would take a cassette recorder, put it next to my speakers, and put on Kiss records and everything in the 70s and pretend to intro them, and then come up with parody commercials and do silly voices. Of course, growing up, I learned voice acting is not about doing silly voices. It's about acting. But I ended up going to the University of North Texas, right outside of Dallas, and I got a Bachelor of Arts degree in radio, TV, film. They lump all those three together. I got an internship at a radio network, and there I stayed for, I think, 13 years. I stayed in radio, some nationally syndicated hard rock, and then kids radio. I was actually a DJ on Radio Disney for many years. So during that time on Radio Disney, I heard about open auditions at Funimation for Dragon Ball Z. I knew they were in Dallas. This was all in Dallas. I grew up in Dallas. And go in and do an open call reading. And I was already a fan of Dragon Ball Z. So I knew, I said, here, just look in the audition scripts there and pick whoever you want to read for. So I saw Gohan. I knew who that was. So I'm definitely reading for Gohan and reading for other characters that I had no idea because those episodes hadn't aired yet. I wasn't watching fan subs. I was just watching the Canadian English dub, which was airing season 1 and season 2 over and over again. And then Funimation took over in Texas with season 3. And I did some bit part voices at first. And then when Gohan goes to high school, they said, congrats, you're our Gohan. Like, what? Life-changing, because I was already a fan. And then this got to be my first gig doing what I've always wanted to do. What?
That's amazing.
Achievement unlocked.
All right, Kyle. So you're going to be in Anime Pasadena next month, and we are very excited to see you there. Thank you so much for taking the time to talk to me today.
Hey, thank you. I appreciate the opportunity. And thank you, viewer, for watching and supporting anime, manga, pop culture, and everything. Everyone in my industry is so grateful for you. So I look forward to seeing you November 4th and 5th at the Pasadena Convention Center.
We'll see you there.